Good morning, and welcome to week one. Yeah, we're only on week one. It's always nice to have a fresh start. Welcome to November, however you find it. And this series is about November. It's about what we're experiencing as we transition through into autumn and winter. Every year is different. We may be moving around, so we may experience different aspects of that. So I'm going to support you in creating that in the imagination as we go through the season over the next 4 weeks. And within that, we're going to bring this idea that when we transition, we kind of need to adjust that the clocks have changed, the world's changing outside, as well as kind of beyond our environment. So how do we transition? How do we kind of adjust to things? So we can always, sometimes we feel like we're always behind, or we're ignoring kind of where we are to just kind of cope with the day-to-day stuff. So trying to come back to how it is on the day, how it is in the season, and giving ourselves time to breathe. So we're going to do a breathing practice each week. We're going to build that up. So if you're not kind of feeling like you can breathe well, then just breathe as best as you can and softly. Don't kind of fight the breath. Just let it be as soft and as soothing as it can be. Okay, so we'll start with the breathing bit. So just so I can tell you the stages. So we will follow our breath. We'll just notice our in-breath and our out-breath at the moment. We will then count the length of our in-breath and our out-breath. And thirdly, we'll do an alternative nostril, simplest alternative nostril breathing we can do, which is to close one nostril with the thumb and then to close the other nostril with the thumb. Not both at the same time. One and then the other. Yeah, so if you want your eyes closed, I just wanted to make sure you kind of knew, particularly with the hand movements, where we're going. If you need to move at any time, whether it be stand up or just give yourself a wriggle to kind of feel as comfortable or as kind of available to being in the body, then do what you need to do. So we'll make a start. So if you want to close your eyes, please do. If you feel like you just need to keep them open for a little while, then also that's absolutely fine. So find your seat so you can actually feel that you're present, whether you sit on the floor or in the chair, and that you can feel your bum on the chair or your bum on the floor, and you can feel your feet on the floor and wherever your hands are resting. Yeah, usually somewhere on the body for most of us. Let the shoulders relax down and be conscious of the spine. So the spine rising from the base. You even feel like it's rising from where you're sitting, go through the lower back, the mid back, upper back, through the neck and up to the skull. And see if we can keep that kind of sense of aliveness in the spine. Maybe you've not kind of made contact with the body yet. So just tuning in, maybe for a moment, to where the spine feels in your imagination or literally feels in your body. And giving that sense of aliveness, that sense of energy in the body. And once you feel settled, that you feel the feet on the floor, hands on the body, bottom on the chair, on the floor, sense of the spine rising, then come to your breath. So just giving time to that internal constant functioning of the breath in and the breath out can generally, for most people, for most of the time, be quite reassuring and quite soothing. And the best place to start is where the breath is. So, the temptation can be always, it should be this, it should be that. But it is what it is, and it will vary during the day, it will vary how you feel. So it is, of course, a barometer of how the body is, how the mind is, how you feel it. But it's also something to just tune into and to appreciate and to feel the softness of that in the body. So you might feel it just in the belly first, or somewhere else in the torso, or you might have a very strong sense of the breath coming through the nostrils. So wherever that is. So just notice if the breath does feel very easy and available to you, very smooth, or whether it's a bit changeable, whether it's a little bit tight. How's the in-breath? Does that come easy, or is it a little bit jaggedy at the edges? How's the out-breath? So because we're sitting and we're not doing a lot, it's not going to be kind of a really strong presence. So we have to find the breath. We have to explore it a little bit to make that connection. We have to give ourselves time and it time to kind of come together. And what will happen is from time to time we'll get kind of quite close, and then we'll go on a dream, go on a series of thoughts, feelings, and then we'll come back. That's kind of the natural thing for all of us. So being aware of that, but having the intention of coming back to the breath if you can. Any softening you need to do in the body to kind of relax a little bit more without collapsing in the body. So any tension in the jaw, around the face, the eyes, the throat, just try and ease that or soften there. Soften in the hands, the area of tension. And then my suggestion, if you just kind of enjoying the flow, go with the flow. If you want to go to kind of the second stage, it's just getting a sense of the length of the breath. So how long is the count of the in-breath? Might be just one, be 1, 2, might be a little bit longer. And how long is the out-breath? So just noticing that it might change every time you try to count it. It may be that the in-breath has a longer count than the out-breath, or the other way around. It might mean that it's just broadly equal, yeah. Maybe they're changeable, but broadly equal. So we're not changing it, although by exploring it, there will be changes. And just being with that change, if there's change, being interested in how things are never quite the same. So just before we go to the third section, just notice the flow of the breath now, the in-breath and the out-breath, that continuous cycle of flow of the breath. So it is a flow, but sometimes it feels like there's a pause or a slight gap between the two. Or there might be slightly different feeling in the body with the in-breath and the out-breath, which might make it feel kind of like two halves. See if you can feel it as a flow, as a circle, as a cycle, as a one thing. It's just part of a whole. Okay. So it just takes time. So My suggestion was if you generally like to have your eyes closed, keep your eyes closed during the alternate nostril breathing. So if you don't want to do this, you just follow the breath and either do the counts or just follow the cycle if you prefer, if that feels really kind of pleasant and you don't want to kind of keep changing things around, that's fine. You want to just give this a try, then alternative nostril breathing. So you're just going to take the thumb to one nostril and just close that down. You know, it's not hard, it's just allowing the thumb to give the pressure on the side of the nostril. So trying to keep the chin parallel broadly with the ground so that you're not cutting the breath off at all in the throat. And just experiencing what it feels like to have a much closer link to the nose breath, the nostril breathing through one nostril. And if it's really unpleasant, just take the thumb away. If you can keep the lips gently closed, maybe the tongue just on the roof of the mouth, just gently. And try to find a position so that you're still comfortable in the shoulder. You feel like you've got space through the chest. It might make you take a breath differently because there's less space. It might lengthen the breath. But if it's all uncomfortable, then take the thumb away, obviously. So it might start to feel slightly more forced than it would when you were just following the breath. As long as that feels okay, keep with that. If it really feels a strain, then obviously you take the thumb away. Okay, so gently taking the thumb away from that nostril, just resting the hand down. If you need to move the body to get more comfortable, please do. Good opportunity. So before we go to the other side, we're going to get a sense of the nostril breath on both sides. It might feel like a rush of energy, it might feel a little bit lightheaded, so take care. It might just feel just really present to the area of the face, the sinuses. Possibility you might also need a tissue. Yeah, so I'm suggesting it's just a nose breath, but if you feel like, no, I can't breathe comfortably without having the mouth open a little bit, please do that. Okay, so once you've kind of noticed that change, notice that experience, just take the thumb to the other nostril and place it gently on to close that nostril. Get the arm in a position where you can feel like you can be as comfortable as possible. Keep a sense of the spine feeling long and a sense of the chin not restricting, throat, its positioning. And this might be a very different experience. So again, if you're comfortable, enjoy. If you're not comfortable, you can either just take the thumb away for a second or two and then put it back, or take it away and just leave it away. Otherwise, just keep that soft connection. So we're kind of, each side of the nostril has a different connection to the brain. So we kind of trying to create a bit more of a balance in the body, in the autonomic nervous system, but also waking up the brain, different parts of the brain. Hopefully. And we're getting maybe a more intense connection by literally feeling the breath coming in and out. So it deepens our sense of the breath. Okay, so when you're ready, take the thumb away, relax the arm. Again, if you need to move the shoulders or rock on the chair for a moment, please do. And get back to what it feels like breathing through both nostrils. Now that will probably feel stronger in the chest. Hopefully it's not making you cough, but sometimes it can. So it'll feel stronger because it'll be much more breath generally to the whole system. So you'll be breathing more deeply. So if that feels like a shock and it's too much, then obviously beware when we do this again. You might need to switch on and switch off. For most people, that kind of rush of air, if the lungs can cope with it, it's quite a pleasant feeling. It's an energy connection. It might be awakening, it might be calming, depending where we're up to. So holding on to the breath throughout the whole of the meditation, if you can, or dipping in and out of it. So we're taking time to reconnect with the breath in November, in this season. And we're doing that to give ourselves time to connect, give ourselves time to adjust to the season, the changes, adjust to the world, adjust to the day, adjust to ourselves changing by being in the world. So each week we'll go on a bit of an imaginary journey. So you kind of all done this so many times. So we'll all do it in our own way. We're going to use the colour of the season or the colours of the season as our way in. And if you have experienced by being outdoors the real colours of the season, then maybe you can revisit those as kind of dipping back to how it really is now. If that kind of isn't kind of very present, then you dip into your imagination of what you think it might be like, or some kind of creation from your own head, your own heart. So we're going to step into autumn. We're going to step into autumn colour. We're going to be amongst trees, which for most of us is generally reassuring. Although if it's stormy and windy and foggy and whatever, then it might feel slightly different. But if we can imagine a time when we do feel safe, yeah. So we're in autumn in a safe way. We're not in an autumn that's going to cause us any harm. And certainly what I've noticed, particularly this last weekend, is autumn seems to have really arrived. So the colours are really starting to be intense. And the variety between one tree and parts of a tree are really quite spectacular at times. Sometimes you need the right light, sometimes you need the right perspective, sometimes you need to look. So taking in your autumn colours from the trees. And just notice how you're experiencing that. So are you in the trees? Are you walking? Are you looking out? Are you looking out at a big expanse of trees across a valley? Are you looking at individual leaves? Are you getting a sense of the leaves falling? Are you getting a sense of leaves that change colour with the rain, with the sun, with the direction you're looking into? Looking down, looking up. Are you being drawn to particular colours? Is it just the fact that there's lots of colour around you? Does autumn colour have a connection? How do we breathe when we're in colour? How do we breathe when we're in autumn? How do we breathe when we're outdoors and we have space? been fairly mild of late, so the body can keep hopefully fairly warm when we're outdoors at the moment. So do we want to be in the trees and feel safe and feel surrounded by them? We feel we want a bigger picture and want to be able to see a whole valley of trees in transition. How does it feel to see colour moving? So trees will be blowing in the wind. So the colours are not kind of just solid or changing. They change as they move. Changes, the light changes. Change with your perspective as you move around them. So we need time to breathe that in. But there's so many different perspectives we can see autumn from. Feel autumn. Be connected to it. It will change moment by moment. It will change quite considerably over days and weeks, depending on the wind and the rain and the sun. The sounds of autumn colour, if you like, movement of the trees, leaves floating, dropping from the trees. So I'm offering this visualization as a way to appreciate autumn, appreciate now, giving ourselves time to be in the now, giving us a time to understand and appreciate the transition and the change that we all go through, and that we can be within that and adjust and change as we experience that. And maybe we can look at new perspectives on the world. We need space, we go above the trees. If we need colour and intensity, we go deep within the woods. We might stop and stare. We might want to walk. We might want our feet on the ground. We might want to walk through dry leaves, walk through wet leaves. We might want that real contact. We might want to see the world differently. We might want to open up to different opportunities, different perspectives, different ways things could be. Recognize, even though we can't change autumn, we can't change the leaf from falling from the tree, we can't change the colour of the individual leaves, we can't change what we see. We could have a new perspective. We could look at it from above, we can look at it from below. We can experience movement, we can experience colour. We have options, we have choices. We have different ways of connecting. We could try something new. We could take time to breathe and take in the new. We feel the flow of the breath, like the flow of the season, like the change in trees. So as you sit, as you walk, as you look, be conscious of the breath, the energy and the flow of the breath. We feel it in the nostril, might not be as clear as it was when we did the alternate nostril breathing, but maybe you can still get a sense of the breath in the nostrils, entering and leaving the body. So feeling the energy of the trees, the flow through the wind and the movement of the leaves. Flow of colour into colour. And feel the flow of the breath. As we return to our space, to return home, slowly allowing those images to be more background, but for the breath to be more foreground. As we did at the beginning, just to notice the flow of the breath through the body and in the body. And maybe to briefly imagine the body filled by that sense of the flow of the body. Changing breath, moving breath, the energizing breath, calming breath. Time to breathe. So being aware of not just the breath now, but the body, feet on the ground, the bottom on the chair or on the floor, the hands maybe somewhere on the body, clothes on your body, that warmth, space around you, sounds that you might hear in the house, outside the house. And gently moving the toes, moving the fingers, having a yawn, moving the shoulders a little bit, moving the bottom a little bit to just having a yawn. If you need a yawn, opening the eyes to the light. And maybe you can see autumn from where you are, maybe you can't yet. Okay, so morning again. Thank you. The breath stuff can be quite calming, so sometimes it might take a little bit of time to get off. So I apologise for those that need to sort of move quite quickly in the day. But it's lovely to see you. Hopefully enjoy your autumn, whatever colour it is, even though it's a little bit crazy out there. Okay, we can look at it through the window if we have to, if it's not foggy. Okay, take care, everyone. Lovely to see you, and I'll be back next week. Take care. Have a good day. Happy singing.